Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Invicta FC Bantamweight, Lauren Taylor. Lauren, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Lauren, you got a fight coming up at Invicta FC 5 on April 5th. Before we get to that fight, let's go back in time a little bit. Let's go back to your last fight. It was a victory over Jennifer Scott via TKO in round number 1 at Legacy FC 18. How did you feel about your performance in the fight?
I was really happy with it. We didn't know that Jennifer was going to be my opponent. I think we got about the same amount of time, knowing that it was her that we got about this fight with Caitlin. So It was good. It was good to get the ring rust off and get in there in front of the crowd. So I worked really hard for it, and it was nice to see it pay off.
Now, talk me through the finish there, because you took her down, a little bit of ground and pound. You ended up taking her back, and then you finished with elbows. Talk me through the finish there and why you decided to finish with the elbows.
I just think that elbows are more powerful. They do more damage, in my mind, than punching does, especially from a top position like mount or top half guard. So I did a fight, I think my second fight, and I was just really inexperienced. I wasn't really sure what I was doing, and I got mount on my opponent, and I was punching her, and it looked ridiculous. It was really ineffective, and I looked kind of funny, and I thought, well, I'm never doing that again. So now whenever I get there, I just throw elbows, and it seems to be a fight ender. And even if it doesn't completely end the fight that way, I think it fruits out my enough that mentally the fight's over. So.
And now you're doing a great job on the stand-up. You were getting in, getting out, not getting hit with anything. She was starting to, throw some wild punches there to try to connect, but you were doing a good job of avoiding that. What exactly was the game plan going into the fight? Was it to, work a little stand-up, and then when she overcommits, take it to the ground? What exactly was the game plan going into the fight?
Actually, interestingly enough, the game plan originally was to try and get her on the fence, and she had pretty decent footwork where she was moving laterally a lot. She didn't move backwards very much at all. And in the beginning of the fight, I noticed that I was a little stiff, and it took about 2 minutes, I think, and then somewhere around that 2:30 mark, I started to loosen up a little and kind of move back with so much. So it was nice to see that I can adapt in a fight. You know what I mean? Because I think up until that point, she was definitely getting the better of me on our feet. But I'm really glad you mentioned that. Yeah, so the game plan originally was to put her on the fence, and I felt like I couldn't do it. So I just shot, out in the open. I think actually, we were pretty much in the middle of the cage.
You mentioned that ring rust, because you hadn't fought since, I believe, October of 2011. Was that something that, going into the fight, you were a little bit concerned with?
I was. I think I might have been the only one that was concerned with it, but I was kind of concerned, what's this like? And, it turned out to not be even really a huge factor. I really loved the fight. I love to be in the cage. I like being... I like being in front of all those people. I just have a blast when I fight, and I don't know if that's for everybody, but for me, it's definitely I'm just having a great time. So it turned out to not be as big of a deal as I thought it was going to be. And I've done some jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff in the meantime, but I was I was like, oh my gosh, what if I freak out, or what if I just completely lose it in there or something? And none of that happened. So it was nice to know that my fears were all a little unfounded.
Just curious, why was there such a long gap in between the fights?
Well, so my last fight, it was in the last, I think it was in November, it was late October of 2011, and after that I had a fight with Juliana Pena lined up, and her and I were supposed to fight, and it got called off at the very last minute. Juliana got injured, so that was a big bummer, and that was for a few months afterwards. And then the summer of 2012, I was actually on the fire crew. I was a one-man firefighter for a season, and that was just a trip that there was no there was no way to fight and do that job. We were out of the state a lot. We were traveling a lot, and when we worked, man, we worked. There was really no time to do anything else. So it was a lot of time away from my family and friends, and it was kind of a whole other world doing that. A whole other interview.
Now, you got this fight coming up, a short notice fight, April 5th for Invicta Fighting Championships. I'm just curious, after this Jennifer Scott fight, how much time did you take off in between then and now?
About 2 weeks. I went home to Panama City, and I tried to stay in shape. You know what I mean? I don't drink or anything like that, so it's not like I just hadn't partied my face off or anything. I went home and relaxed with my boyfriend and the dog for a couple weeks, and I would pop in and out of the gym. I sparred a couple times. I rolled a couple times. I kept running and everything and trying to stay, not in tight shape necessarily, but just in shape. So, as soon as we found out that this was going to happen, I packed up all my stuff and came back to Houston to train for this fight. And it's actually not been that bad. It's mostly like, okay, we're going to get my cardio back in order and we're going to game plan a little bit, but it's not like I'm coming into this, like right off the couch or anything like that. So.
How did this fight all come together? Was it when you found out that Amanda Nunes was unable to compete at this event, you and your management decided to pursue Invicta, or was it that they were looking to fill a spot and they offered you the fight and you just said yes? How did it all come together?
Invicta is a wonderful promotion, and they congratulated me on my win over Jennifer Scott, and they sent me an email actually that said, be on standby in case anything happens. It's 430 fighters on our card. We want you to step in. And I thought, like, oh my gosh, there's nobody on that card that I would want to take short notice. I mean, I was I'm kind of bummed about the whole thing, honestly, because I really wanted to see that card. Like, I really wanted to just be a fan for this Invicta card because it's so good. Yeah. So, so that was really my only concern with it. But as far as I know, Nunes hurt her arm, I guess, and so as soon as they found that out, and they emailed me and said, would you like to step in against Caitlin Young? And it's kind of funny because just like 2 days before, my boyfriend and I were watching some old fights, some old MMA fights, and I was like, oh my god, I hate to fight Caitlin Young. She's so good. And then like 2 days later, they're like, hey, you want to fight Caitlin Young? So,
now, you're going to be fighting Caitlin Young. What are your thoughts about her as an opponent? It's really good best for me. Man, she's like a legend in my mind. Her kickboxing is outstanding. It's just outstanding. And she's knocked out, some really high-ranked women. She's got some tough fights. Like, her record is just like who's who of the MMA. And she's really experienced. And I've kind of followed her even before it was ever even in my mind that I would fight her. Like before I ever signed with Invicta, before I ever really went anywhere with MMA, I was, a big fan. And so I was a fan of Caitlin Young before I really took stuff seriously. And she's very intelligent. She seems like a kind person. Like, I can't say enough good things about her, honestly. Really, to me, it's like a huge honor to compete with her. Now, Caitlin Young is a longtime veteran of this sport. She's fought a lot of great fighters. She's definitely the best fighter that you've faced up until this point. How big of a step up in competition is she for you?
I think it's a pretty big step up in competition. It's up to this point, it's like I've fought women, but quite honestly, I fought women that don't have much of a ground game or they don't have any wrestling. I fought some good strikers, and that's not really the case with Miss Young. She's not only is she a super gifted striker, but her ground game and wrestling is no joke. You know what I mean? So this will probably be the first fight where I'm kind of expecting like a huge war. And I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, I have a lot of fun fighting. I really enjoy doing what I do, and it's nice to know that I'm about to go down, I'm going to throw down. Like, the only thing, she's going to stop me by either knocking me out or putting me to sleep. That's just all there is to it. And unless she does one of those two things, I'm fighting till the end. You know what I mean? Keep my head off. I'm going to go over and pick it up and put it back on and keep fighting her. So.
Obviously, you wouldn't have taken this fight if you didn't think you could beat her. Where do you feel that you have the advantage in this fight?
I don't necessarily think people only take fights because they think they can win. I definitely never know going into a fight that I'm going to win. But I think that it's time for me to step up and have better competition. I mean, I can't just keep fighting women, in smaller promotions that only train in one area of MMA. I mean, that's like, I don't want to be a sandbagger. I don't want to, you know, like, I feel like the fights that I've had up to this point have been progressively tougher, and this is just the next logical step, is to fight somebody like Caitlin, you know, who is really tough and can give me a really good challenge. And, yeah, it's not necessarily like, oh, I should beat her, I'm going to do this. Like, it was really like, wow, this is a really good opportunity for me to get my name out there and see what I'm capable of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, what is your main motivation for taking this fight? Is it because you're getting a chance to fight a great opponent like Caitlin Young? Is it because it's going to be on a great card that Invicta's putting together? Or is it because of, you know, the lost time that you had? You didn't fight at all in 2012. What's the main motivation for taking this fight?
The main motivation, I think, is just because I love to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want to fight. This is what I chose to do in my life right now, and while I'm doing it 100%. And, you know, that means taking the fights that come my way and taking opportunities as they come up. I have a really great setup right now. I have a great team behind me. I have amazing coaches, and I'm really, really happy with all the progress that I've seen in myself. And, you know, I'm not just doing that just to stay in the gym and talk about it. I'm going to get out there and use it. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, the story broke yesterday that you were going to be fighting at the Invicta 5 card. How long before that story broke did you know that you were going to have this fight?
Only a couple days. Yeah.
I see. And your last fight was for Legacy Fighting Championships. Do you still have a contract with them, and they're just allowing you to take this fight? Because I know Invicta, they have an open relationship. They're willing to work with any other promotions. Do you have a contract with Legacy, or was that just a one-off?
No, I'm not under contract with Legacy. Actually, the thing with Legacy, that fight happened because somebody else got hurt as well. So it was almost the exact same situation that I'm looking at with Caitlin Young. You know, they had a match on there, a women's match, and one of the fighters got hurt or dropped off for whatever the reason was, and they needed somebody to replace them, and they called me.
Mm-hmm. And Invicta, this is just a one-fight deal as well with them, and, you know, if you put on a good performance here, it'll lead to more things. Is that what we're kind of looking at?
No, that's a fight contract with Invicta. So, and that was signed a while back, but just for multitude of reasons, haven't fought this yet. So I think that's why they were able to let me know, like, hey, you know, we've got this card coming up. You know, you're not on it right now, but if somebody gets hurt, you will be. So stand by.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you're aware of that this upcoming season, Season 18 of The Ultimate Fighter, is going to feature women as contestants. Is that something that you're interested in, or are you hoping that, you know, good performance here on April 5th, you just stick with Invicta for the foreseeable future?
You know, it's really funny. Like, I'm not sure how that whole cup thing is going to work out. Like, definitely no matter what happens, I mean, we'd have to ask Invicta, you know, how they feel about their fighters going into the Tryouts, because I think a lot of them, the big fighters that are signed with Invicta, are definitely eyeing, you know, the Tryouts and stuff, but I'm not sure how Invicta feels about their fighters going to try out for the UFC like that. So I do know that Invicta is an excellent promotion, and all the fighters that fought for them have seemed really, really happy, and a lot of them have said they don't want to go anywhere else. Things that happen, and living to the house together, and that, I mean, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy thing. It's just going to be off the chain, and I think to be a part of something like that would be really, really fun. I think it would be super entertaining and like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of experience. So if I had the opportunity to do something like that, and Invicta was like, do it, I think I would have to do it just because you're never going to get another chance to do anything like that. But, you know, if they're not okay with it, it's like, no, we need you, you know, to fight for us during the time you would have been in the house, then I'm okay with that too. Like, I'm really into, like, just kind of take the life as it comes. I try not to fight too much with.
So as of right now, there are no plans for you to be in Vegas, April, whatever that tryout date is. I don't remember off the top of my head, but no plans?
Yeah, I'm kicking it around. I've talked to my team about it. I've talked to my manager about it. I'm kind of collecting opinions, and like I said, we have a lot of people we have to talk to before that actually goes down. So I think I put on my Facebook and in my Twitter that, like, I want in that tough house. But, you know, in all reality, like, if it can't happen, then that's just the way life is. So I mean, the truth is, like, I could go try out, and they might love me, and they might be like, yay, you're one of the women that got picked, and then I fight to get on the house and I lose, and I don't get in anyway. So, you know, anything could happen. So, like I said, we have a lot of people to talk to before the ball even gets rolling, but I don't have a plane ticket. I can't get over.
Now, one thing that I noticed, I was looking at your Facebook page, and one thing that I noticed was one of your profile pictures is of Larry from the Three Stooges. Are you a Three Stooges fan?
I am, and I kind of, like, my two best friends, we are the Three Stooges. Like, I'm just super goofy. I'm really, I'm just a silly person. So, it just seems fitting at the time. That was a long time ago. I can't believe that.
Is Larry your favorite Stooge?
I think probably Mo is, actually.
And, I've had this debate, because me and my brother, we're big Three Stooges fans, and we've always had the debate who would make the best MMA fighter of the three, Larry, Mo, or Curly. And, I go back and forth because you got Mo, who's really aggressive, and, he throws a lot of strikes, and then you got Larry, who, he's got a good guard, he's always ducking out of the way. When Mo's going to poke him in the eyes, he always gets that hand up right in the nick of time. But then you got Curly, who can take a bunch of punishments. So who do you think would make the best MMA fighter of those three?
I guess Curly, because he can take the most punishment,
Right.
He's tough.
Right. Lauren, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Oh my gosh. I wish I'd written something down. I wish I had prepared a statement. I know I've had so much support from a lot of people up in Alaska, especially the Gracie Baja up in Alaska. It's been really good to me. The students that have really encouraged me on this journey. And then I'm working out at Gracie Baja Katie right now regularly. Mm-hmm. It just treats me like family. You know what I mean? I'm there all the time, and the athletes there are so kind to me, and they're always willing to work with me, and the coaches are amazing. I've never had better coaching in my life. I gotta say thanks to Aurora and Jen and Joe and my mother, and I've had other sponsors too. NLA Katie is sponsoring me right now, and Ariosty Rehab Clinic, they're sponsoring me. They're a really awesome chiropractic clinic, and they're taking good care of me. So,
Lauren, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck at Invicta FC 5 on April 5th against Caitlin Young.
Thank you. Have a good day.